folks at the Advancement Project, they have also been looking at what's been happening in Los Angeles when it comes to stop and frisk. In 2015, what they chose to do is, after a surge in violent crimes, they imposed the notion of stop and frisk, doubling the size of their Metropolitan Division. The Metro officers started pulling folks over in unmarked cars, searching for drugs and weapons. And, of course, who did they pull over more? Black and brown people. No shock. Civil rights attorney Connie Rice calls it stop and frisk in a car, and she joins me right now. Connie, how you doing?
Can you hear me?
All right, Connie, can you hear me, Connie? Connie, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Got it. Yeah, I can hear you, Connie. Okay. So why do you call this stop and frisk?
Well, Roland, let's set the context here. About 3 years ago, there was a surge in gang crime. And we had 53 shootings, 17 bodies. And the mayor said, I want this stopped. I want it doused. I want it suppressed. And so the chief of police doubled the Metropolitan Unit, which is the elite unit in LAPD, specialized units. And they rolled out and they did this sort of, they doused it, but then they kept it with the cars. And it turns out that the stops that they're doing have a really disproportionate racial adverse impact. Now, when I say stop and frisk in a car, on the surface, and this is just the first level of analysis, Roland, because the data shows a big gap. It shows disproportionate impact. 90% of the stops done, 60,000 stops, 90% of them African-American and Latino, vast majority African-American. So you have disproportionate racial impact. The question is why? And why I called it stop and frisk at this stage is that when you have that level of racial impact, you've got to have a really, really big emergency to justify it. And I didn't see it. I'm waiting on more data. I'm waiting on how did they decide which cars to stop? How many times are they stopping the same people? Were these random? Was this a random strategy? Or was it tied to individual investigations of suspects? All of that will tell you whether it was justified or not. So yeah, there's a big gap. There's big impact. When you see this level of impact, you've got to dive deep and you've got to find some very serious reasons to have this kind of impact. Roland, as you know, I say this isn't your grandfather's LAPD. I think Chief Parks and Chief Bratton and Chief Beck and Chief Moore, they've gotten rid of most of the open, flagrant racists. It's not your grandfather's LAPD, but it's also not Martin Luther King Jr.'s LAPD. So let's be clear, we have a long way to go. This is not about individual bias on the behalf of a single officer. This is about structure and policy and the racial impact of a strategy, a policing strategy. And there's a big difference. When I look at the impact of a strategy, I'm not looking at individual bias. I'm looking at what's the justification for going into a primarily black neighborhood and unleashing a strategy that destroys trust, ends up feeling like harassment. African-American residents tell me, look, Connie, I feel hunted. I don't like the way the police are doing their business. Most of the officers doing this, LAPD is majority of color now. So it really isn't the old, even the Rodney King era. We've come a long way since then. But we're now at a level where we're talking about the kind of policing that's done in black communities. And that's what this is about.
And so, final question. You said you're waiting to get that information. Have you requested it? What has been LAPD's response?
I've been all week with the chief, and last night I was with the Police Executive Research Forum, which chiefs of all the major cities. And 20 years ago, you couldn't have had a discussion. There wouldn't have been a meeting. There's a disagreement here. They feel like they've got to do what they call proactive policing. To civil rights lawyers, when you pull a car over and the first question you ask is, are you on probation or parole? In my mind, you didn't have a reason for stopping that car. If you know who's on probation and parole, and if you have criminal conduct, you can pull that person over, or you can arrest them, or you can get a warrant, right? That's the constitutional way. But when you're stopping cars and it's not clear why you're stopping them, and almost all of them are African-American drivers, you've got some serious questions to answer. And we're getting it. We will get the information. We're mapping the data. We're seeing where the high crime is and where the stops are. And we're gonna ask them to roll this policy back and get back to the foot patrols that are done with gang intervention. That's how you build trust. That's how you actually fight crime. And you engage the gang members, not just targeting them and arresting them over and over and over again and making them even more desperate. But what you do is you give them off-ramps out of the gang life. You give them, instead of arresting them, get the ones who actually want to get out of the gang and give them a chance and deal with the conditions in the community that make this kind of policing, make the cops think that they have to police this way. I have found that if you position police to do real community policing, they'll do it. But you have to demand it, and you have to give them the tools and the partners in the community to do it. We know how to do this. We know how to do it right. We shouldn't be doing dragnets.
All right, Connie Rice, the Advancement Project. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Marked Unfiltered video in just one moment.
We want to talk about our partners at D-Herbs. Now, of course, I've been talking about their full body cleanse, which I did, 20-day cleanse. Did nothing but fruits and raw vegetables and nuts. Drank nothing but water. Couldn't have any fried foods, no processed foods. Couldn't even have fish. I ended up losing about 18 pounds. But it wasn't just about losing weight. It was also about cleaning out your system, removing all that toxicity that is in the body, and providing for more energy as well. Now, you want to try their full body cleanse. Remember, they got about 27 different cleanses that you can also try. So what you do is go to dherbs.com, use the promo code Roland. You can also call 1-866-4D-HERBS, 1-866-4D-HERBS. Now, also, what's been the benefit to me is that by being on this cleanse for 20 days, it also changes how you eat and also what you focus on. So by being on the cleanse, look, I couldn't eat anything but raw vegetables and fruits and nuts. And so even as I travel now, so I'm thinking about smoothies or thinking about different ways to eat. And so it changes just not your body, but also how you look at what you eat and what you put in your body. And so if you want to try it as well, again, I want you to go to dherbs.com, dherbs.com, use the promo code Roland, or you can call 1-866-4D-HERBS, 1-866-4D-HERBS. Don't forget to use the promo code Roland. And we want you to support, of course, one of the partners who is supporting Roland Marked Unfiltered.
Now back to your Roland Marked Unfiltered video. You want to check out Roland Marked Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Marked. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Marked Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Marked Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Marked. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.